Did you know how much wealth was looted from India by Great Britain? The figures might astound you. It's estimated that up to $45 trillion was siphoned off from India during the British reign. That's right, trillion with a T. In the 18th century, the British East India Company set foot in India, marking the beginning of 2 centuries of colonial rule. The East India Company, a trading corporation, swiftly transitioned from trade to politics and military power, exploiting the political vacuum left by the decline of the Mughal Empire. By the mid-19th century, the British Crown took direct control over India following the uprising of 1857, often referred to as the First War of Independence, or the Sepoy Mutiny. From this point, the extraction of wealth, resources, and labor from India to fuel Britain's Industrial Revolution became systematic and state-directed. India, once known as the Golden Bird, was rich in natural resources, textiles, spices, and precious gems. Under British rule, these resources were exploited to the fullest. The British monopolized the textile industry, causing a significant decline in Indian handicrafts and a massive unemployment wave. Moreover, the British introduced a taxation system that heavily burdened the Indian peasants, leading to widespread poverty and famine. The revenues collected were used to fund the administration and military expenses in India and finance Britain's wars abroad. The drain of wealth didn't stop at material resources. Human resources, too, were exploited. Millions of Indians were recruited into the British Army during the 2 World Wars. Indian soldiers were sent to various parts of the world, fighting and dying for a cause that was not their own. Now, let's shift our focus to the cultural wealth. Many of India's priceless artifacts now reside in British museums. These were not gifts or purchases, but rather spoils of a colonial past. The Kohinoor diamond, for instance, was taken by the British as part of the Treaty of Lahore in 1849 and is now part of the British crown jewels. In conclusion, the economic and cultural plunder by the British Empire left a lasting impact on India, an impact that is still felt today. The wealth drained from India was used to fuel Britain's Industrial Revolution and expansion, turning it into a global superpower. To wrap things up, the British rule in India was characterized by systematic wealth extraction, exploitation of resources and labor, and cultural plundering. This looting to the tune of $45 trillion is not just about economic loss. It's about the lost potential of a nation that could have charted a different course if not for the heavy yoke of colonial rule. And while the past cannot be changed, understanding it can enlighten the present and guide the future. So the next time you wonder about the wealth of nations, remember the story of India and the $45 trillion question.